Hi, this is Alken, and welcome back to my channel. Well, just when you think things can't get worse for New York Governor Kathy Hochul, they do. Well, we found out earlier this week that her lieutenant governor does not plan to run with her for re-election. Now I think we know why. Because all of a sudden now his furniture is moving all over the place. Now, what am I saying furniture being moved all over the place? Well, the governor decided to do some redecoration. Um, I usually say that for something I can't say on YouTube, but in this case, it's something to do with office space. This is on CBS News by Marshall Kramer. Yes, I can say that name correctly. New York Governor Kathy Hochul moves to strip Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado of office space. Here's why. Office space. Why is that? So New York Governor Kathy Hochul is moving her to strip her Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado much of his office space at the hint a primary challenge to her next year. Hochul has banished him from his office on the same floor as hers in the state capital Albany. She also took away his office in New York City and Hudson Valley, confiscating his state-issued electronic devices and reassigning much of his staff, all because he hinted at challenging her for re-election. Oh my goodness. Putnam said that this is Hochul's latest series of toughness as steelist she exhibited in dealing with President Trump and his decision to kill congestion pricing and to cut aid to New Yorkers holding dear. What's that got to do with his lieutenant governor or her? I don't know. I think this is her way of saying, look, this is my. What the hell did they put here? Fee Fordham. FIEFDOM. You can look it up on CBS. You don't believe me. That's what they put there. I'm in charge. You are my pick. You are my lieutenant governor. I made you, says J.C. Polanco, assistant professor at the University of Mount St. Vincent. Hochul cannot force the out. He was duly elected, so he can, by law, continue to collect his $220,000 a year salary, which makes him the highest paid lieutenant governor in the country. Yet Delgado not running for re-election with Hochul in 2026. In recent days, he made no bones about the fact he and Hochul don't see eye to eye. For me, it's very, very, very important for New Yorkers to know that I am their voice, that I want to be their voice, and that is the only thing I am beholden to is the people. D'Angelo's said during a recent interview with CBS 6 in Albany. D'Angelo had broken with Hochul on a number of key policies issues. He called for former President Joe Biden to step down while Hochul was supporting him, and he called for Eric Allen to resign as Hochul was taking steps to keep him in office. In a statement Monday, D'Angelo announces he was not running for re-election alongside Hochul in 2026. Whew. When I first made the decision to run for office at the 2016 presidential election, I did so because I believe we needed more leaders in government willing to hold themselves accountable for the people and only the people. I believe New Yorkers deserve this kind of leadership now more than ever, D'Angelo wrote. The statement concluded, all the options are on the table and willing to explore them. A representative of the Hochul office released the following statement in response. Today, Antonio Delgado finally said out loud what he had been obviously for quite some time. He's simply not interested in doing the job as Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York. What? Let me see. Did I read that right? Today, Antonio Delgado finally said out loud what he had been obviously for quite some time. He's simply not interested in doing the job of Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York. Maybe because he's working for an imbecile who's the governor of the state of New York? Governor Hochul has already been taking steps to identify a new running mate for 2026. We will also be reallocating responsibility within the administration to ensure the important initiative that had been within the lieutenant governor's office is no longer negligible. Governor Hochul wish him the best in his future endeavors. The lieutenant governor sent CBS News political reporter Marsha Kramer. See, I'm getting, oh my goodness. A statement saying he is deeply committed to serving the people of New York and being their voice in the state government. You know, this is kind of ridiculous. If DeJono doesn't run against Hochul, he may have to get in line. Bronx congressional congressman uh, Richie Torres says he's open to running for governor, and he has a New York City base in a state where city voters are an important part of the electoral. Okay, so yeah, there's musical chairs happening in Albany and a couple other places in the state because the lieutenant governor might be challenging the current governor for governor, and she's not having it. She's saying, "Oh, he's not focusing on being lieutenant governor; he's focusing on being a candidate." They don't see an eye to eye. And by the way, this is not her first pick for lieutenant governor. The other person that she picked for lieutenant governor, unfortunately, had to resign for political and criminal reasons. So this is another failure on the current governor of New York. As he knows, everything's gone wrong with this lady since she became governor. I mean, she was running high a few years ago because she rode into a second term on the abortion issue, but unfortunately, it is not helping her this time. Um, the person that she tried to prevent from getting back in the White House, Donald Trump, is back in the White House. She's trying to keep congested pricing, but the federal government wants to eliminate it by the 21st of March. Her people done some real dumb stuff while she's governor. I mean, you had an earlier lieutenant governor who's now facing jail time or is in jail time for something he did. He had some people who took a squirrel and a raccoon and euthanized them and made a big scandal out of that. Um, and then, of course, you got the prison strike. And to make matters worse, it turns out um, they knew they had a shortage of 2,200 correction officers they needed to fill. They had some kind of job fair, and about 600 people wanted to be a correction officer in New York State. The problem was they were from Pennsylvania and they wouldn't allow them to do that. Now, because of the strike, they reconsider that instead of doing it back then. When the fair was there, they could have changed it. They didn't want to do it. Now she's in the middle of a strike. Her popularity is going down the toilet. I mean, she is as popular as an ant in a picnic basket. So, no. Uh, if the lieutenant governor is not agreeing with her, it's because her policy royally sucks. That's the bottom line. I mean, she's riding high was on abortion and anti-Trump stuff, and well, unfortunately, it all backfired because now nothing's helping her, and I doubt she's going to be able to succeed in another term as governor of the state of New York. I mean, the crime is another problem, and then you have the migrant crisis, and you have ICE knocking on the door. And they got in Rikers Island, and she's trying to tell Eric Adams what to do, putting guardrails around him. You don't need guardrails, but you're like a horse walking around with blinders on either side of you, and you just don't seem to get it. And let's not forget that she tried to make believe there's no crime in the subway with her NTA chairman. Oh, it's all in your mind. On the day that the woman was set on fire by an illegal alien, and she's taking selfies on the same day on the subway, saying how safe it is. Well, of course, if you're walking with armed protection around you, yes, the subway's gonna be safe. But the rest of us are not walking around with armed security, are we? No. So, I mean, even with the National Guard, it took a long time for the crime to start going down, but not the numbers that they were hoping for. And, everything was an exaggeration. That's maybe why many FBI agents are getting kicked out. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the FBI since February 26th of 1993, which the day before was the 32th anniversary of that first terror attack on the World Trade Center. 6 people died. You would think New York would have learned this lesson, but well, I'm not blaming Republicans. I'm blaming some dimwit in the White House who wanted to fool around with an intern under the desk. So that's all I have to say. So this is Al Kane saying so long for now, and don't forget your stop.